And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Troy David Phillips, Flashback Comics, and I'm going to give you another comic book supervillain spotlight. I am wearing today my Kirbyverse shirt, celebrating the life and the creativity of Jack the King Kirby, birth name Jacob Kurtzberg. Jack Kirby created a lot of the Marvel Universe as we know it today. Jack Kirby, along with Stan Lee, his partner, his co-worker, his writer, Jack Kirby gave us the Fantastic Four. He gave us Thor in the pages of Journey into Mystery. He gave us the Incredible Hulk. He worked on the early issues of the Avengers, the early issues of the Uncanny X-Men. Jack Kirby hit us with a lot of stuff. And then it came time for a change. Jack Kirby left Marvel Comics and he went to rival DC Comics. There, he created what is known around the world as the Jack Kirby Fourth World. And the Fourth World has Darkseid. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, the Darkseid. He's going to be my co-star today on today's show. So, Jack Kirby in 1970 left Marvel Comics, went to DC Comics. I already said that part. And while there, he was asked what he would be interested in working on. One of the things that he mentioned was Superman. Superman already had a creative team, and Jack Kirby didn't want to displace anybody from their book. So he took companion title Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal. In the pages of Jimmy Olsen, Jack Kirby introduced Apocalypse, Intergang, and Darkseid. And from there, it spun out into Mr. Miracle and the Forever People, and most importantly, the New Gods. The New Gods are a creative mythology, the like of which I don't know what to compare it to. Jack Kirby gave us the Ragnarok cycle, without actually calling it that, showing us the death of the old gods, who can be seen as analogous to the Asgardian gods, but again, without actually naming that out loud. And in the destruction that comes from the Ragnarok cycle is the birth of New Genesis and Apocalypse. And the god of Apocalypse, the god of evil there, is Darkseid. Darkseid is attended by his minions. Darkseid, his aide-de-camp, who is, much like his namesake, sadistic, sniveling, whiny, toady-ish, manipulative, backstabbing, not to be trusted. Exactly what you would expect coming out of the cesspool, the fiery hot cesspool that is Apocalypse. Darkseid has a son. He actually has several sons. One of them is the dull-witted, brutish Calibac. We'd see Calibac in the pages of the New Gods tearing stuff up on Earth, and eventually Calibac would be humbled by Superman. However, Darkseid had another son, and he attempted to use his other son, Orion, as a serpent in the garden. You see, there was a hostage exchange to establish peace between New Genesis and Apocalypse. And so, Highfather, the god of New Genesis, sent his son scot-free to live with Darkseid, while Darkseid's son, Orion, went to live on New Genesis. Jack Kirby introduced a lot of stuff along with these characters, things like the Mother Box, the sentient computer that governed a very advanced technology on both planets. He also gave us the Boom Tube, the teleportation mechanism that takes us from Apocalypse, which exists outside of the confines of the normal universe, into the main DC universe. And Darkseid would not only battle Superman, but he would also battle the Justice League. We would see Darkseid after the end of the New Gods. All of these things came to a rather short, abrupt end. It was a story that Jack Kirby didn't get to finish the way he wanted to. However, Jack Kirby gave us, tangentially, Etrigan the Demon, and Kamandi, the last boy on Earth, and Omak, the one-man army corps, and he touched on Sandman, not the original character, and not Morpheus that we know from Neil Gaiman's series, but a completely different character. Once again, imagination that only Jack Kirby could give us. Darkseid would be seen next again in the pages of Superpowers. Superpowers was a comic book intended to tie to a line of action figures, and Jack Kirby was given a share of the royalties from the sales of these toys. It was one of the first times such a thing had happened, and it was DC's way of kind of giving Jack Kirby a little bit extra for all that he had ever given them over the years. So because he designed the looks of the villains and the heroes, he got royalties off of that. Superpowers ran as a series of limited series, Jack Kirby doing the pencils on the first two. He did not do the artwork in the final Superpowers arc. And the toy line did eventually come to an end, like all things seem to do here. Jack Kirby, however, gave us his vision of the end of the cycle of the New Gods in the pages of the Hunger Dogs. Now, DC Comics didn't want to kill the golden goose, so while Jack Kirby actually wanted to bring the story to an end, wrap it all up finally, DC didn't want to kill such an epic villain. They didn't want to do away with him permanently. So there were some creative differences there. There might have been some bitterness on the topic. I won't go into that now. Let's keep this positive. Darkseid, like a great many characters, would go through the evolutions of the DC universe. There's been more than one continuity reset. We have, of course, seen the pages of Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we shrink the multiverse into a universe. Coming out of that into the next major arc is Legends. And in Legends, we see Darkseid striking at the heroes through their very legends, discrediting them, showing humans that they don't need these legendary heroes, and weakening them, preparing for his master strike. This ultimately goes badly, but what the hey, Darkseid's trying. We're also going to see Darkseid in the pages of Cosmic Odyssey, where we see the anti-life equation manifested and split into 4 smaller entities. Darkseid is forced to enlist the aid of Superman and the Justice League. Of course, Darkseid is not to be trusted, and Batman has an ace in the hole. At first, you're going to think the ace in the hole is actually Jason Blood, aka Etrigan the Demon. Once again, another Kirby character come back to roost. But it's not. It's classic Golden Age sorcerer Dr. Fate. This is an excellent story. A lot going on here. Darkseid does not stop there. I'm flash forwarding all the way to more recent stuff like Forever Evil. In the pages of Forever Evil, we see the new Anti-Monitor coming from Earth 3, chasing the crime syndicate, and that leads us into the Darkseid War. Anti-Monitor versus Darkseid. Justice League, the Darkseid War, which actually reached its conclusion not that long ago and led us into the DC Universe Rebirth. Rebirth, I have no doubt that we are going to see Darkseid in the reborn DC Universe. We're going to see a lot of this stuff, and I believe a lot of the Kirby-inspired characters in new and exciting incarnations. So Jeff Johns and the talent collectively at DC Comics is doing a fantastic job of bringing these things together and giving it to us 2 issues a month. 2 Batmans, 2 Detectives, 2 Justice Leagues, 2 Supermans, 2 Actions, 2 Wonder Womans, 2 Flashes. Twice as much. You don't have to wait for these stories to unfold so long. So get excited, get charged about that, and like me, wait with bated breath to see the return of the apocalyptic god of evil, Darkseid. Thanks for joining me, folks.